Shalom. First off, I want to give all honors, all glory, and all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone GMS. Shalom to the elect of Israel, and to all you Akim pushing out this edifying content and videos and lessons for the edification of the body. I pray that Yahweh Bahashem Shai bestows his mercy upon you as we enter into these last days. This is the brother Halal from the Great Millstone Camp in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson. And this lesson is going to be going into this slave plantation. The biggest plantation in the South, in the state of Louisiana, that recently burned down on May 15th. So I did some research, on Google and on ChatGPT, and I asked the AI a question, and the question was the slave plantation that burned down in Louisiana a tourist attraction? And the AI said, yes, the Nottoway Plantation in White Castle, Louisiana, which burned down on May 15th of 2025, was a tourist attraction originally built by John Hampton Randolph. The 53,000 square foot mansion was the largest antebellum home in the American South and was constructed using slave labor. By 1860, 155 enslaved people worked and lived on the property. In the 1980s, Nottoway was transformed into a resort and event venue featuring a museum, guest accommodations, a 300-seat restaurant, a grand ballroom, and it became a popular site for weddings and tourism, drawing visitors interested in its architecture and complex history. So this slave plantation, which was a personal hell for Israelites of the Southern Kingdom, they transformed this place into a tourist attraction, man. And lo and behold, now this place is up in flames, man. This place got burned the hell down. And eventually the entire house of Esau, with Babylon the Great being the main Edomite stronghold, is going to be burned down too. So this right here is really nothing compared to what is coming. This right here isn't exactly, it isn't a victory, but what it is a sign, it's an omen, for things to come. Let's look up the definition of the word omen. There's the definition of the word omen. It says, an event regarded as a portent of good or evil, prophetic significance. So, with this slave plantation burning down, what do you think this means, man? This is a sign. This is a sign that Esau Edom is going to hell down, man. So I'm going to start this off with the book of Numbers, chapter 35, verse 33, because the Lord has a bone to pick with all the heathen and even our own people. But he also has a bone to pick with Esau Edom, because they have been the main nation that contributed to the suffering of the apple of the Lord's eye. So let's go to the book of Numbers, chapter 30. This is the book of Numbers, chapter 35, and verse 33. So ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are, for blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. So this land, Babylon the Great, is defiled with blood, and in particular is defiled with the blood of the Israelites, man. Whether it be the Southern Kingdom, which were the Judites, Benjamites, and Levites that were brought over here on slave ships from the west coast of Africa, that fled from the Romans, in 70 AD, and were eventually enslaved in America, or whether it be the Northern Kingdom, the tribes of Gad and Reuben, Gad and Reuben, who were raped, robbed, and murdered, and genocided and ethnically cleansed out of America by Esau Edom. This land is defiled by blood, and the only restitution for that is if the man that shed the blood, if he gets his blood shed. And a lot of people will say, oh, why do we have to, Edomites will say, oh, why do we have to take accountability for what our forefathers did. Well, let's look no further than Isaiah chapter 14 and verse 21. And it says, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land nor fill the face of the world with cities. So going back to the book of Exodus, right? In the time of Egypt, Pharaoh made a decree that all the males, the male babies, the male Hebrew Israelite babies, were to be killed. Why? Because they could continue on the bloodline of the Israelites, man. There was a reason why in the book of Exodus that Pharaoh made a decree for all the male children to be slaughtered. Because it's a sign, man. So now the Lord is saying, prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor fill the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Because ultimately, reincarnation also plays a factor in as well. Because we are our forefathers. We reincarnate every 2 to 3 generations, from the father to the grandchild, and then the grandchild gives birth to another child. We are reborn on earth, man, via reincarnation. So yes, the children will be reproached for the iniquities of their fathers, man. So from there, I'm going to go to this Instagram video that I found while looking for edifying.
The scene behind me is a plant in Louisiana. Is a plantation house in Louisiana that is burned down. It's burning down in this video. But this is not just any plantation house. This was the largest antebellum plantation house in the South.
So they turned the largest plantation in the South, in Louisiana, into a tourist attraction, man. And like ChatGPT said, they were having weddings here. People were getting married, the bride and the bridegroom. People clapping their hands in front of a plantation, where our people were getting beaten, lynched, tortured, maimed, mutilated, getting their private parts cut off. All manner of evil was done to our people here. And these people turned this shit into a fucking tourist attraction, man.
Owned by one of the richest enslavers in the South. This is the Nottoway Plantation in Louisiana. It was built by enslaved Africans in 1859. It was owned by this guy, John Randolph. Now, John wasn't even from Louisiana. He was from Virginia originally, but he came from a wealthy slave-owning family, and his dad was hired by the federal government to do something in Louisiana, and he moved with him. Now, originally he wanted to make it into a cotton plantation, the same type of plantation that he was used to in Virginia. But he noticed that the climate in Louisiana was a lot different, so he changed it to a sugar plantation. And because of that, he ended up tripling his family's wealth. John Randolph enslaved 176 people. But the plantation house itself was built around the same time as the Civil War.
Salaki.
John didn't want to fight in the Civil War. He was scared. So he sent 3 of his sons and he asked, how much money do I have to give to keep me out of this? And he was a huge financial backer of the Confederacy in Louisiana. When he realized that the Confederacy was losing, he left his wife in Louisiana, took 200 slaves, and went to Texas. Once the Civil War was over, he contracted with 53 bonded.
So during the Civil War, he had left and took 200 slaves with him. 200 of our people. All because of the Civil War. So look, man. Let's not get one thing mistaken. These Edomites are gonna pay for everything that they've done, man. The fact that these people would turn a plantation into a fucking tourist attraction really shows you that the hatred for you Israelites is still going strong today. But don't even worry. The same way that you treated us, the Lord is gonna come upon you Edomites with vengeance, man. And we're not gonna care about whether it was you or your great-grandfather. No, you're going to be reproached for your father's sakes because you want to make a profit off of it. You want to turn this place into a tourist attraction, knowing the evil things that were going on over here, man. No accountability. Like the scriptures say, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. So I'm going to end us off with the book of Job, chapter 20 and verse 4, and it says, this is the book of Job, chapter 40, Salakia. Job chapter 20 and verse 4, it says, Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? So, hey, you Edomites had your time to rule. You had your time to go around the earth, bombing third world countries in the name of democracy, because they had vital minerals that you wanted to further your campaign. Those days are officially over, man. You had your fun. You had your time to oppress the nations, man. Now the time has come for you to drink of the same cup that you made the apple of the Lord's eye to drink of, man. Let's skip down to verse 15. It says, He has swallowed down riches. He shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asp. The viper's tongue shall slay him. Let's see. Let's go down to verse 19. It says, Because he hath oppressed and hath forsaken the poor, because he hath violently taken away an house which he builded not. Surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. There shall be none of his meat left, therefore shall no man look after his goods, man. So all the riches that the Edomites have, they're going to vomit it up and they're going to lose it all in these last days. Why? Because it's going to be burnt up by fire. Verse 22, In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. And that's what we're waiting for. That's what we rejoice and happily wait for, man. We don't got to go out here and be on no Black Panther stuff, marching around the street with guns, because Yahweh Bashim Shai is going to be the one to bring down his vengeance upon you Edomites, man, upon all of Idumea, for not only the things that you've done towards nature, to the creatures that the Lord created, but mainly to what you've done to the apple of the Lord's eye, his chosen people who he has chosen above all others, man. So this right here is a very important sign, and the best is yet to come. So with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim Rakakwadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstones GMS, Ruel Shalom, Kwam Yasharala, Abab Babal, and I'll see you all in the next lesson.